what's great about what Box is doing is we're really transforming the way people work together. And that's one of the things I really want to highlight today is it's not just about sync and store. It's about how do you really change the way you collaborate around content to really change the way you do business in a much, much better way. And I'm very excited to share with you some case studies of customers that we've signed on and also to show you a live demo of how Box applies to different business units within different organizations. So really excited to be here and definitely want to spend some time with you with regards to what the vision is. And that is that ultimately that content is incredibly important to businesses and organizations out there day to day, whether it's a PDF that you might be sharing with a client or a movie file that you might be editing with a peer or a Word document that's revolving around a business plan that you're building or an Excel sheet in your finance department around financial modeling. Ultimately, regardless of what vertical you may be in or what type of an organization you're in, content is incredibly important to the business every single day. And one of the things we see happening is that cloud is really changing the way you consume content. And the reason for that is the way we interact with content on consumer applications is incredibly simple, easy, and intuitive. And we now expect that same experience with enterprise applications. But the funny thing is, when you use an enterprise application, it's usually not that kind of an experience. And so really we have the consumer space driving enterprise behavior today. The second piece that we're seeing is that mobility is definitely, for many people in different use cases, the preferred way of working because it makes them more productive. So it could be a smartphone or a tablet device like the iPad or the Android tablets. And what we're finding is that there are actually more tablets now being purchased than PCs on a yearly basis. So mobility is absolutely another big trend that's occurring as well. And what we're seeing is the existing enterprise applications are not really meeting our demands from a user perspective. So it's incredibly complicated to set up, can be expensive to maintain, hard to share externally, usually doesn't have a mobile experience. And ultimately, users don't adopt it because, they don't have a great experience on this. A great example is with SharePoint. When I do these seminars, I've got a room full of people and usually ask them, hey, can anyone say they love SharePoint? We don't really get many people at all raising their hands, right? And it's because of the things I've listed out here. And so ultimately what we're seeing is there's a divide. So users want something that's incredibly easy to use, that is mobile, and that will allow them to easily share internally or externally. And enterprise companies will really care about 5 main things. One is to really have it be secure. The second is reliability, making sure that you've got the uptime that you need around that content. The third is integration, making sure it's integrated with your existing application workflows. The fourth is reporting, ensuring that every single thing is tracked so that if you encounter something, God forbid, like a lawsuit or, an audit where you need to track everything that's happening with the data, you can easily generate that report. And the fifth piece is provisioning. So if I'm rolling out 50 users in a department, well, provisioning better be really simple and easy and intuitive to do. So what Box does, right, is it delivers enterprise content collaboration anytime, anywhere from any device. So if you've got an iOS device or an Android device or a BlackBerry device, right? So whatever it might be, we can support it. And specifically, we've built native apps for Windows devices, Android devices, and also iOS, where we've actually been ranked in the top 100 business apps. And right now, as an example, recently we're ranked number 1 on Windows business apps, just as a quick snapshot to showcase what we've done on mobile. And we'll show you a video mobile later on during the demo to give you an idea of how our mobile strategy can help you out within your organization. So another key piece I really want to spend some time highlighting is that with our cloud, it's incredibly secure. So we have taken a tremendous amount of time architecting the most secure cloud that we can envision, and that involves many different layers. So the first is, obviously, we've got our internal data center infrastructure where we've basically have multiple data centers geographically dispersed, and also a fourth tier for backup on top of that. And within our data centers, we've got an architecture that you're probably used to seeing, which includes firewalls. But also we take it many steps further. So a great example is encryption of data. We use 256-bit AES both at transfer and at rest. And that's a big differentiator. Some other clouds do not encrypt at rest. So I did want to highlight that. The second is we're SSAE 16 Type 2 compliant. That's a set of policies we carry out both internally within our organization as well as the way we architect our data center security. And a great example of the way we do our data center security is, as an example of physical security, we do biometrics as well as armed security guards. And that obviously is a very intense level of security at those data centers. What we also do is very, very detailed logging, both across not only the users, but even the admins. So ultimately, everything is audited and tracked within Box, which is also another key component that many other clouds do not do for businesses and organizations out there. But it's incredibly important because if you need to know if someone, downloaded a file and left the company and went to a competitor, well, now you can track that within Box as an example. Taking it a step further, during the demo, I'll show you our different permission levels, as well as the way we password protect files and folders and do expiration around file access and links. And again, we'll showcase this during the live demo. But ultimately, our security is so intensive that we've even gotten the HIPAA compliance piece tied down. And as you know, there's not many cloud companies that can offer that today. So whether you've got a traditional stack for managing content today, whether it's SharePoint or Documentum, or you're also embracing, cloud applications like NetSuite or Sugar or Salesforce, or even these cloud platforms on the right, ultimately what we can do is we can tie into those existing, components or workflows. So, for example, if you're working on an account within Salesforce, we can use something called Box Embed that inserts Box into that application, so that as you're working on that account, you can save, files relevant to that account in Salesforce directly to Box, but it's all still within the Salesforce application. So again, the beauty of this is it's very seamless with regards to your workflows. And ultimately, companies, are coming to Box to solve 4 key challenges. One of them is file system consolidation. So we have quite a number of customers who are consolidating or getting rid of FTP and moving that to Box. As you know, FTP is not a very good user experience. It's not intuitive. It's hard for external people to access, especially if with regards to firewalls. And it's hard to manage. There's a lot of user management that is not very easy for your IT admins to take care of. The second piece to this is we have quite a number of people adding on to SharePoint or replacing SharePoint with Box for the reasons I mentioned earlier in this presentation. And the third is Dropbox. So if you have a lot of users going rogue, putting stuff in Dropbox, it's a huge visibility problem as well as a management problem. And, you want to have the ability to easily cut them off or, give them the same productivity but be able to lock it down securely. And that's where Box comes into play. The second is external collaboration. So sharing files externally in a secure manner is not easy today with the consumer platforms out there or with the existing on-prem enterprise applications like SharePoint. So it's not very intuitive, hard to do for most people, but so important to their business. And the third piece we're seeing is mobility. So, having an iPhone or an iPad or an Android device and being able to share content and to collaborate on content, right? Taking it a step further, editing the document, actually commenting on it. I mean, that's where Box can help out. And then the last piece is really making sure that whatever technology they're signing on with regards to enterprise content collaboration, that it really truly is an open platform. And what I mean by that, and you'll see this in the demo, is that there are over 300 applications that can integrate back to Box's API to save centrally back to our cloud. Why is that important? Well, what we see happening is the best-in-class mobile apps are not being built by the Microsofts of the world. They're being built by companies like Evernote. And what these companies are doing is they're saying, hey, we understand businesses want to use our applications but don't want to save it on that siloed app because no one else can, one, easily access it and collaborate against it, and two, we want to make sure it's locked down and secure. So why don't we write back to Box's API to save it centrally in the cloud there? So ultimately, the reason I want to show this slide is to make each of you feel very comfortable with knowing that your content is safe and secure in the cloud, and that it's already being done by other businesses. So we are leading the way in the market where we've got over 150,000 businesses now using Box, over 15 million users. Those numbers both went up recently. And we've got companies like MTV, Sony, HP, Procter & Gamble with over 15,000 users, Schneider Electric with over 50,000 users, Gap, ABC, Columbia. There's quite a number of large names that you would recognize on here. And the one that stands out most to me is McAfee. McAfee is the number one technology security company in the world. They are the ones who can least, survive, right, if a security breakdown happens with regards to their content, yet they're willing to trust their content in Box. They replace their SharePoint infrastructure with Box. And I think that's just an incredible testament to how secure our cloud is. And I want to quickly share with you two case studies. Procter & Gamble, a company in consumer goods, I'm sure you all are very familiar with over $82 billion in revenue. They said that they don't think there's a better solution out there for quick, easy, and secure file sharing, and they were able to get employees up and running in 5 minutes. I mean, I have never in my life seen an enterprise application get up and running with staff in 5 minutes, and that's the beauty of what Box does. It's an incredibly fast, intuitive product. Balfour Beatty is a construction company. They're the sixth largest in the U.S., and they actually replaced their FTP infrastructure with unlimited storage from Box, and now they're doing real-time collaboration on RFIs. They actually have bids uploaded to folders. They collaborate on meetings, site updates, and they actually have instant mobility because they have access to files on their iPad in the field. And so that's a really interesting case study because a lot of these workers were not traditional content knowledge workers, but because of Box, it changed the way they do business, right? And they had a great quote here that says, everybody says how easy it is to use, and they love it. I do want to quickly show you this slide relative to our competitors. It's really important to note we are absolutely leading the way with our current offering of product as well as our strategy for the future. And you can see it's not even close. We are absolutely the market leader with regards to sync and store as well as mobile collaboration. And Gartner also released a report that showed we're leading the way in sync and store as well. One thing I did want to highlight is your peers are also, embracing these technologies. We did a CIO survey through Gartner, and they basically said, 3 out of the top 5 initiatives they're really focused on this year are mobile, cloud, and collaboration. And those 3 of those top 5, Box can help them address. We do have 3 different license offers. So basically it's Business, Enterprise, and Enterprise Unlimited. Business Edition is 1 terabyte across the entire company. Enterprise and Enterprise Unlimited is unlimited storage. So this is priced out per user per year and not based on storage. So I'll say that again. Again, pricing is based on per user per year. And there are some differences here. File size limitation for uploads. The biggest single file you can upload is 2 or 5 gig based on the license. You do have truly unlimited bandwidth as well. And you have unlimited collaborators you can invite into a folder. Collaborating in a folder means you have the ability to share, preview, let me take that a step back. You have the ability to share, delete, edit, as well as preview and download within the folder with regards to the folders and files in there. Now, it's kind of like, think of it like as a virtual workspace around content. Now, when you invite someone into that folder, you do get charged per user the same you do an internal user for business and enterprise. However, if you get Enterprise Unlimited, you have as many external collaborators for free that you want invited into a folder. We do also have support offerings. So we've got Standard, which is wrapped in for free in the license. And if you want more urgent support with faster response times and better hours, you can also purchase Premier Support, which is 15% of the annual recurring contract. We also have professional services to help you with adoption of the solution. So we do have end user as well as admin console training and also AD integration. So if you want to include this Active Directory integration piece, you can to Box. And we can also help you integrate to applications like Salesforce or NetSuite or any other enterprise apps that you may be considering integrating with regards to Box Embed. And so I'm hitting this on a high level. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that it's quite in depth with regards to what we include within each of these package offerings. And this is really just to help your staff be familiarized with the product as well as to adopt it internally.